The show begins with an abducted man negotiating with some goons for the land they have illegally taken control of. Being scared is too far from the talk. This man sits tied up like he is the dominant hand in the situation, and soon he proves so with his words, too. Tommy Norris is a seasonal landman, and he strikes a deal with the people of the drug cartel to allow them a surface lease where the M-Tex Oil Company of West Texas holds mineral rights. Instead of asking them to leave, he negotiates a deal with them, ensuring both parties run smooth businesses of their own. Even the gangsters are surprised to see a deal where they are receiving money and services too, but Tommy seems to be a champion of maintaining harmony along with his benefits. He seems to be a pure investor in the profits of the oil and gas industry, knowing the stats of how it makes $3 billion of profit per day, so it is not very different from running a cartel. Dangerous profession, but the money is worth it in the end. Tommy knows that the growth in industrialization increases the demand for oil and gas, but this job then requires a lot of babysitting. Whether it's of the sites, contracts, or the workers, they need to be managed, and the police and press are to be handled. This is Tommy's job. In summary, securing the lease and managing the people. A while later, a plane is seen to land on a newly constructed road alongside a car. However, a tanker soon collides with them, causing a catastrophe with 0 survivors. On the other hand, Tommy's son, Cooper, has decided to start working in the oil fields, but his American taste is constantly mocked by the people Tommy left him under his supervision. Waking up, Tommy considers a Friday to be a Monday because he seems to be working. He is called to the scene where his stolen plane was found, only to be surprised by the situation. Officer Walt does not like the fact that Tommy didn't report the missing plane to him, but Tommy believes it was the job of the airplane police to forward this report to him because that's where Tommy was supposed to report a missing plane. Tommy requests Walt to backdate the police report about the plane to when he reported FAA. But Walt knows many eyes will be on the case, so he doesn't plan on doing so. Tommy then tells him to at least mention in the report that the FAA was notified last month about it. The drugs around the plane are a concern, so a team has to be deployed to test it out, which means this newly constructed road that is an absolute need for transportation needs to be closed for a while. Tommy wants to build an alternate route via the fields, but the burning dead bodies there means that's a no-go zone too. Driving back, Tommy gets a call from his ex-wife Angela, who tells him his 17-year-old daughter Ainsley and her boyfriend are visiting Texas for the weekend, since she is going out with her current husband and won't want to leave her alone here with the guy. They also talk about Cooper getting into the oil industry, referring to it as the apple not falling far from the tree. Tommy later calls up the oil titan, Monty Miller, to update him on this matter. Monty steps away from his fancy lunch to hear out Tommy and organize some legal help for the case to be filed in Houston. Monty decides to call Clay Chandler to help out in this matter. The call ends with another person telling Tommy it ain't Monday, but him not believing so. On the other hand, Cooper is climbing a very high tower to check the Tucker valve. But the thing is, there is no such thing as the Tucker valve, and they are just pranking him since it is his first day of work. After he reaches a good height, they tell him they found it down here. Cooper is about to climb down when he slips and only gets saved due to his suspension. Seeing that, Elvio climbs up and calms him down, reminding him he is still tied up. He slowly helps him take one step down and get to the bottom. However, that sudden fall did cause him to injure his hand. Cooper is not amused by the prank, but it's not like he can do anything about getting ragged on the first day of the job. Tommy goes for lunch where a landowner and a lawyer come to meet him. The owner wants to sue him for a fire that damaged his land, but Tommy reasons it being a natural disaster. Tommy, being the perfect negotiator, offers him $300,000 to avoid getting into courtroom troubles. However, Tommy makes sure he isn't sucking up to the guy. The guy is deeply offended by Tommy's attitude while offering him this lease, but the lawyer convinces him it is a good deal. Meeting Ainsley, Tommy also gets to meet her boyfriend, Dakota Loving. Being a guy like Tommy, it is hard for him to ignore the absurdity of this name. He does not like how intimate the two of them are getting in his sight. On the way home, the three stop at a football game, only for Tommy to realize this weird-named guy is famous amongst the youngsters. He is flirting around with women, but Ainsley is blinded by his love and plans on studying in Alabama for him. Tommy isn't a single bit fond of the guy who is groping his daughter in front of a crowd like it's nothing. Tommy has trusted his old mates Louis, Armando, and Elvio with Cooper, and even though they bully him, they still care for him too. Knowing he doesn't have anything for dinner at his dorm, they take him to their place for dinner. Armando and Luis teach Cooper a little Spanish, telling him he'll need it. Elvio is Armando's younger brother and Luis is his uncle. Armando tells Cooper that Luis was in prison for 10 years and, being a felon, he could either steal or work the patch to earn 6 figures. The same happened with Armando, but now he believes that if you work hard for your money, nobody can take it away from you. He calls Elvio smart for getting into this early on, and now he is chilling with no felony or expenses to worry about. All this just at the age of 24. The guys are all sweet to Cooper, but of course, they won't step away from making fun of his American roots that can't handle spices. Tommy tells Ainsley she is not sleeping with Dakota, but in the room where he will be. In the room, Ainsley tells him he isn't stopping anything but just delaying it. Tommy reminds her that the intensity of feelings doesn't mean he is the endgame for her. His experience of life says this is purely physical attraction, and it may be strong enough to drag them through a lifetime, but it won't be a happy lifetime. This was the case with him and Ainsley's mom, and it took him longer to realize that. Ainsley still believes this could have a chance. She promises not to take things any further than just sleeping and waking up in his arms. Tommy allows that, but when she goes out, Dakota doesn't take a breath before coming up with loopholes to break that promise. This proves to Ainsley that her dad was absolutely right. She goes back to him crying about how he is always right, but Tommy tells her it was the failures of his own that made him learn lessons. The 4 guys are back at work the next day, fixing a broken pipe at the oil well. Cooper goes to fetch a 24-inch pipe while Luis is striking the loose gas pipe with a hammer to fix it. However, gas starts leaking out of the pipe, and one of the hammer strikes sparks a flame, leading to an explosion, blowing the 3 of them away while knocking Cooper back as he was a little farther.